Hello viewers, welcome back to another brand new episode where I'm going to talk about another new principle which will help you to drive effectiveness in your business and marketing strategy. You must have heard about this principle which is called 80-20 principle. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to broadly explain what 80-20 principle is, because still, even though it's a widely used or widely discussed principle, this principle is not really applied in the real-time strategy or even approaching or solving your business problems. That's what I've learned. But if you notice, all these big-time consultants, strategy consultants who work in famous consulting firms, they never approach any business challenge. It could be a growth challenge, it could be a cost-cutting challenge, any challenge for that matter. They don't approach these challenges without 80-20 thinking, without 80-20 principle. So what 80-20 principle is? 80-20 principle is nothing but when you notice, we generally assume that the input and output are directly proportionate, right? I'm just explaining you the basics before we jump into how you can really apply 80-20 principle. Before that, I just want to inculcate this thinking, which I call 80-20 thinking inside you, so that you can see it very clearly. You can see that in day-to-day business situations. That's why I'm starting broad and explaining you this. Input and output. What we assume is, let's say this is the input, right? For example, if you need an output, you need to put in something, right? What we assume is, if we want a desired output, we need to give a lot of inputs. This is a generic thinking. This is an average thinking. It says it's very direct, right? Okay, it's very direct. But according to 80-20 principle, it's always skewed. Few things matter more than others. For example, your input can be small, 20%. Your output can be 20%, 80%. This is 80-20 thinking. Your small inputs can lead to massive results, right? You can even replace this input with effort and results. Small effort can lead to massive results. This is otherwise called vital few, and this is trivial many. Right? 20% of the input can lead to 80% of the output. 20% of the effort can drive 80% of the results. This is the foundational premise or foundational idea of 80-20 principle. For example, we can give a lot of examples for this, right? Even take the nature as an example. Few locations in the entire world receive highest rainfall compared to other locations. You can notice, I'm not sharing any data. Few locations, even in India, if you notice places like Sirabunji, they receive highest of the rainfall compared to other locations, right? Classic 80-20, right? And even if you notice the entire seasons and weather changes, in few months, in few days, we get majority of the rainfall compared to the overall year, right? So that's classic 80-20. Just see how the wealth of the whole world is skewed few individuals. Just go and check Forbes data. Top 15 or top 20 individual people own almost 70-80% of the wealth across all the nations in the whole world. Right? Take Indian stock market as an example. Top 15 to 20 companies, listed companies, hold majority of the market capitalization. So 80-20 principle, you can, if you have that orientation, you can notice it in everything, right? In almost everything you can notice it. So how we can apply this 80-20 principle in your day-to-day business setting? That's what I'm going to discuss, both in your business and marketing setting. But before that, it's very, very important to have this X-ray vision when you see a data, when you see a situation, when you see a problem in your business, right? It's always better to go with an assumption that few things matter. We always think in terms of average, right? We consider everything as equal, right? But it's better to segregate the vital few from the trivial many. That's another mental model we need to have in mind when we approach a business challenge. Vital few things matter, right? So now let's jump into the examples. So the first use case which I wanted to share with you is this. 20% of the market segment, 20% of a market segment can drive 80% of your sales and profits. Okay, let me rephrase it. Your majority of your sales and profits can come from a small segment of a market. I will give you an example, real-time example of how I've seen this in my real estate marketing career. Way back, I believe 8-9 years back, I was working in a real estate company in Chennai where we were about to launch a project, a residential project. Right? I'll explain you. It's quite interesting. Right? It's the project which we were trying to launch is in a specific location in Chennai. It's inside the city. The location is inside the city, right? The project cost was roughly about 90 lakhs to 1.5 crore, right? The management of the company has allocated roughly 80 to 90 lakhs, maybe up to 1 crore as a budget, marketing budget, to drive more site visits and sales conversions, right? What happened was, out of curiosity, I have devised a media plan, a marketing plan, where the assumption was our target customers were living across the entire city, right? Let's assume these are the localities, pin codes, right? And this is the place where our project is located. These are the other locations. What we did is, in fact, what I did was, we created a media plan like a full page power jacket advertising in prominent newspapers in Chennai, bus back panels targeting across entire Chennai city, and then radio jingles, and then billboards across the city, and then even Facebook advertising and even Google advertising, targeting the entire city, right? We launched the campaign. On that particular weekend when we launched the campaign, usually at that point of time, real estate companies usually launch a project during a weekend, right? Even now we could see that trend. We launched the project on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On these 3 days, we had roughly about 150 to 160 people walked into the project location. right? 150 people to 160 people walked into the project location. We were really happy, right? Since the project was on the early stage of the construction, not many people bought it, but a lot of people have shown interest. We spent around 90 lakhs rupees to drive this 160 walk-ins into this project location. I did an analysis post this campaign launch immediately after the week, studying these 150 customers, 150 site visits. What I found was almost 140 site visits, 140 prospects were living in 5, 6, 7 kilometers radius of this project location, right? Almost 90-95% of the prospects lived in this location. But we spent across the entire city. Our advertising efforts were focused across the entire city. Then what happened was, post-launch, we had only limited budget, right? Because we have spent most of the money during the launch phase itself. But with the help of those minimal budget, I think we had roughly about 40-50 lakhs, I guess. For the entire project, we had 1.5 crore and we have spent almost 90 lakhs during the launch. And then balance 30-40 lakhs, 50 lakhs, we have to sell the entire project. This analysis of where these customers come from, where do they live, opened up, it gave a new insight to the entire marketing team as to what should be our focus area. So with the balanced budget of 40-50 lakhs, we decided to target only this location, right? The classic 80-20 principle. 80% of our customers prospects, right, lived in and around 5-6 kilometers of the project location. Then I did a very qualitative study of talking to all these prospects. We spent another while we launched a localized campaign slowly post-launch, our team members did a small study, right? We asked why these people are trying to find a home in this location. What's the underlying reason behind it? Psychological factor, right? What we found was people who lived in and around these locations, they were living in old apartment complexes, which is 15-20 years old apartment complexes. And they wanted to upgrade their life. They want to give a taste of new life to their children, right? They want to upgrade their lifestyle. That's what we have learned from doing a qualitative study with all these site customers. We time and again validated this with every new customer who have bought and who visited the site, right? With this insight, we reoriented our messaging to, earlier we just mentioned like 2 and 3, it was a very generic message we had across all the mediums, right? We said premium apartments available in this location, starting price 80 lakhs, 85 lakhs, I forgot the exact pricing. But this time what we did is, based on our understanding of these specific market segment, we rephrased the message, we reoriented the message showing that upgrade your lifestyle. This is the only simple change we did. Upgrade your lifestyle, that's it. This one messaging, with this one upgrade your lifestyle messaging, we have sold the entire project. Location targeting narrowed down to 5-6 kilometers with the messaging based on real-time understanding, not opinion-based or not any assumption. Based on real-time understanding of the existing customers, we said upgrade your lifestyle, and with the balance amount, we have sold the entire project. So the message, the learning for me as a marketing head when I did this campaign was the 80-20 principle, practical application of 80-20 principle, right? 20% of the market segment drove majority of the site visits and sales. We were able to see that when we analyzed the site visit, classic 80-20 principle, right? 80% of the customers, people who have walked in to the site location, lived in and around this area. And when we studied the reason behind why these 80% of people were really considering to buy a home, we understood this upgrade, the idea of upgrade, right? That's the psychological driver. And when we reoriented that messaging, it worked. Classic market alignment between market and message. We had this alignment, and we used selective media channels to target this audience. Even when we did print advertising, we didn't choose entire Chennai as a release, print release. We chose only releases targeting this area. Print media has this option, right? And even when we did BTL advertising, we have not targeted the entire city. The classic advertising spillover I have seen during the launch, right? Spillover is nothing but we have targeted the entire city, but people are living inside this 5-6 kilometer radius. Spillover happened across the city, right? If you analyze your marketing campaign, you will always realize this. Having this insight in mind, I've seen a lot of similarities when I strategized any of the retail businesses or any of the locality based businesses. I've realized that most of the times your customers are concentrated, right? Classic 80-20 principle in action. 20% of the market customer segment drives 80% of your sales. If you keep this in mind, you'll be able to strategize better. You'll be able to apply that X-ray vision in your strategy. So when you analyze your data, when you analyze your lead, your prospect data, your customer data, see, is it concentrated, right? Another thing is, there could be few reasons why majority of the customers would buy, right? Usually in marketing teams, we assume that people buy your project or your product or service for various reasons. But if you study the data, you will see 80-20 principle in action. Few reasons will be the opener, right? Will be the driver of purchase decisions. If you take those few vital reasons why people buy from you and change your marketing messaging accordingly, targeting the right people, you will have high level of conversions. Your conversions will skyrocket because you're targeting the hyper responsive customers. Earlier during the launch, we were not targeting the hyper responsive customers because all these people lived in those areas. They didn't want the project. They might consider in the future, but there is no inherent buying orientation for them. Whereas people who lived in that location, in this particular location, when we say upgrade your lifestyle, they got attracted towards the project and they stepped into the project. It connected really well. So this is what I wanted to share with you. Classic 80-20 thinking and application of this thinking in your day-to-day marketing strategy. Whatever you do, you could do campaign analysis, prospect analysis, lead analysis, number of store visits or number of site visits, number of customers sold, the reasons why they buy. If you apply 80-20 principle in that, you will be able to sell your product or service with minimal budget. Also, your conversion rates will be way higher. Your sales team will not come and complain to you that I'm getting a lot of disqualified leads. People are not too interested in the prospect, but the marketing team is driving just because they want to achieve their marketing qualified lead target, right? So keep this in mind when you do your marketing sales strategy next time.